So some of you have missed the beginning part of it, pretty much talking about why we use Gmail. Um, so I want you all to go to Google, and I believe I did this last time, but go to google.maricopa.edu. And this is so that you can go to your Gmail account. So google.maricopa.edu. You'll sign in with your MEID at maricopa.edu and your password, and then you'll be in here. You should be able to search for Zippity Doodah. Or, well, let me show you. So in this case, it won't be here because I didn't email it to myself. Zip ID, Zippity Doodah. But I could go search for, you could go search for my name as well. Whenever you search for someone's name and you're within a directory, what that means is there's a collection of other users on here. In this case with Maricopa, you should see their email, and you may see other information if they filled out their profile, which may be something that you all decide you want to do with this. You can do that by looking at your account and then making changes there. But you can add in a phone number that you could be reached by, and a couple of other features as well, like times that you're available. But I do want you to know when you go to Gmail, you have these other filtering options. Well, you type in a name of someone or even a subject line. You may have an option like, "Hey, did we talk about this in a chat or an email? Am I looking for something that comes from me directly or from a certain person? Am I looking at a specific time frame?" And you'll have lots of different features that appear. And the reason different features appear is based off what you type into the search. So there's an AI kind of going through and saying, based off this search, these are the type of filters I need to give to the user. So let's look at the whole point of the Zippity Doodah file that I sent, or sorry, email that I sent you. Well, the purpose of it is to show you how, or to also assess whether or not you can zip and unzip files. So what is zipping and unzipping a file? Well, say you have a file, and I always like to use, and I'll type this in the chat for everyone. The rain in Spain lies plainly in the plain, or mainly in the plain, I think is actually the thing. Does anyone know a movie that's from? It's okay. So especially in a couple things, but My Fair Lady is the movie I'm thinking of, and it's actually based off um an old epic, which I can't remember the name of actually right now. It's like I think it's like a Greek name, but pretty much in the show, in the movie, and in the play and epic, what actually used to happen was that there's pretty much this guy has a bet whether or not he can transform a woman that is like from the streets into a very classy, fair lady, an exquisite lady, and then he does so, and they train her, and then try to marry her off to this guy in order to kind of win this bet, and he ends up falling in love with her, with his own creation kind of thing. Um, but anyway, that's just some background on where that comes from. But why am I mentioning that with zip files? Well, when you have a file, notice, like, for instance, let's say this sentence was just in a file. There is a lot in common between these characters, right? Does anyone see something that's in common? Something that maybe you use more than once? There's a lot of things. So, anyone see anything? All right. Well, um, if you look here within rain, plain, main, plane again here, or even just the IN. Oops, the IN that's in rain, in Spain, or you can say even the I's, or you can say the does. There are things that are in common and repeated throughout this. Well, let's just say just with the AIN, instead of using AIN, which takes up 3 spots, right, for each time it's used, let's say I did something like this. Let's say I said the rain, and I put some kind of way so that you could especially mark rain, or sorry, the AIN, so that you realize that um, if I ever use a different marker later, you know exactly what it stands for. So I'm gonna type this out first so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Are you typing something right now?
Yeah, on the chat.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you know what? I'll do this on Notepad because then I can make it larger for you guys too. So does chat not show up on my screen when I'm typing into it?
Now it is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's just get rid of that possibility by using this. Thank you, Michaela, for letting me know, because I would have just kept using that for visual examples. And thank you, Chantel, for telling me that it did eventually show up. So we'll use this, and I think that text should be large enough for everyone to see. If not, let me know. So let's say we have the rain in Spain lines mainly in the plane. And instead of continuing to repeat that AIN, let's say I somehow let you know, let's pretend you're the computer, that what's in parentheses and the symbol follows, the symbol that follows is what I'm going to use to replace it throughout. Well, the sentence got shorter, right? And when you look at character wise, it definitely got shorter. But I could go even further with this if I really wanted to, right? Because that IN is also being used multiple ways. So let's say I said and then I do another one. Use this symbol because I can. So yeah. It doesn't look as it definitely is not shorter, but if you were to see that, you probably would be able to read through a sentence faster if you just saw a bunch of asterisks and you knew every time you saw that meant IN, right? So what this is doing is compressing the file, or this is how a file would be compressed. It looks through the entire file and says, hey, what's being repeated a bunch of times here? Because whatever's being repeated, I can have some kind of marker to let a computer know that, hey, when you see that, put this into it. Okay. So, and the purpose of that is to save space, because then the computer doesn't have to think as much, right? And you may not think that reading the rain in Spain lies mainly in the plane is a big deal. Well, let's say like this was in a file 1,000 times. You could go as far as to say it's printed one time and just have one marker, and you just have to have that marker go in that file 999 more times. This saves up a lot of space, and it also helps can help process as well. Yes, you have a question?
Sorry, is that coding?
This is not programming like within coding. You could code to make something happen like this, where you take a file and compress it on your own. But we have applications that will compress files for us. So I'm just kind of going through how a compression actually works, because we're about to do one. We're about to zip and unzip, or we're going to unzip and zip file. So I want you guys to kind of understand what's happening when it decreases in size. And the reason I want to help you understand that is also because it is very important for you to unzip these. So let's say you received a zip file, and it was like this. You may not off the bat know that, oh, really, this says the rain in Spain lies mainly in the plain. You may not know that automatically. So the purpose of doing this is so that once it's been zipped and you have it, you can unzip it to get back to the original without taking up a bunch of space. Another thing is when you send emails and send messages, if you were to send an entire message, there's a lot of data behind that. That means it takes longer to get to a location. If it is smaller, it can move faster. Think about like on the road. Whenever I think about data going through a network, I think about traffic and being on a road or a highway. So if you're in a big 18-wheel truck versus a little car, the little car is able to travel faster and able to maneuver around, right? The 18-wheel truck has a lot of power, right? There's a lot to it, but it can't get up and go as fast necessarily, and it definitely can't maneuver the same. So it's better to have things compressed when you're sending them out. And also the way a zip file works, you can compress multiple files together, and it'll look through all those files to see what's in common. And then a part of that zip file will be a portion that pretty much explains to the computer, if you see these markers, they really mean this. So you can get back to the original when it unzips. Now, let's take a, okay, I'll leave it open just in case we need to type some more later. So there's a video here explaining how to do how to zip and unzip files, and there's a link as well that does the same. But I would like to take you all through this. So another thing here is that you guys have, I was pretty much letting you know you have a student email already, and you do have Canvas inbox as well available to you to send emails with. You don't have to create a personal Gmail account and then use that, but it would be nice to have one for yourself. Another thing is if you were to, for instance, like I showed you guys before, your Gmail account actually has, YouTube was purchased by Google years ago, and therefore every person that has a Gmail account automatically has a YouTube account. So you have a YouTube account given to you by Maricopa. Well, let's say that you started using it, right? You're starting to post things. You have a blog going. You have 1 million subscribers or whatever. That doesn't just belong to you. That belongs to Maricopa as well, because the only reason you have that account is because of them. So if you wanted to go to YouTube and start your own YouTube channel, the better option would be to do it from a personal Gmail account instead of going through your Maricopa one. Therefore, you would hold all the rights to it. Now, if there's an assignment in a class and your instructor tells you to use your Maricopa YouTube account, do it. I mean, what's the real harm in that, especially if it's an assignment for class? If it's something that you become really passionate about, I would ask them, is it okay if I use my personal? And here's the reason why. Because I'm very passionate about it, and so I want to own all the rights to it and never allow Maricopa to have any portion of it. And usually Maricopa is not going to be like, oh, well, that belongs to us now. Any money that you're getting from that by posting ads, that's ours. They're not going to be like that. The way they would most likely use it would be, we can use it however we want within the district somehow. But anyway, so move forward from there. So here's the assignment. I emailed you zippity doodah. So go to your Gmail account, your student Gmail account. Search for zippity doodah, kind of like as I showed you. When you do, there will be a zip file there. And so you will download that from your email. So oops, I'm gonna go to my email here, and I'm going to zip. So you guys should be doing this as well if you haven't already.
Download it in the folder, like that folder.
Yeah, it'll give you an image of a folder. It's a zip file. Yeah. Okay. So looks like someone already sent me one, so I'm just gonna download it from there. And so it should say using Gmail and canvas.zip. So when you do so, you can download it. Depending on the computer you have, if you have a Mac computer, as soon as you download the zip file, it actually will automatically uncompress it. If you're on a Windows computer, that is not the case. Now, what is better? Well, that depends. Someone could send you stuff within the zip file that you don't even know that's there. And if you unzip it, you could be unleashing a virus of some kind onto your computer. Or you could be unleashing kind of like a marker that's sending information back to that person so that they can get access to your files or see what you're doing. So you want to be careful if you just receive zip files randomly from people. Now you guys can decide whether you trust me or not, but the only thing that's on here is your assignment. So when you download it, though, as I said, on the Mac computer, automatically will uncompress it. There used to be, I don't know if there still is, but there used to be a way for you to change that. In my mind, just security-wise, for protection, it's probably best to change that so you can know that whatever source you're coming from, are they a trusted source? Which you should do that anyway before you download anything. You shouldn't just download things offline. But if you're on a Windows computer, you should notice at the bottom here, you'll get kind of like a little image icon to go along with the type of file that you downloaded and then the title of it. So I usually click the arrow and click open, or I just directly click on it. Either one will work, or show in folder in this case. I'm gonna do that. And then
Excuse me, guys. Can I do something real quick?
Yeah.
On Firefox, it's a tad bit different. It'll pop up in the top corner, and a little arrow downward with a line underneath it. That'll be where all your downloads will go.
What'd you say you're on, Amber?
Firefox.
On Firefox? Okay. So, Amber, would you mind saying that again, just so that everyone can hear it?
Yeah. So at the top by your search bar, there'll be a down arrow with a line underneath it. That'll be where your downloads will go.
So kind of like this arrow, but with a line underneath it, and it'll be right next to the search bar, is what she said. So you could click there, and you'll see where your downloads are. There's also in Gmail, because if you don't have this set up properly, it's automatically set to happen this way. But I'm glad you said it, Amber, because I forgot about this. Sometimes, get rid of that. Sometimes your Google Chrome is not set up for it to download automatically and come down here. So sometimes you need to make a change in settings so that it is. Well, if that's the case and you didn't see it pop up down the bottom, if you just click those three dots to the side, click downloads, you'll see what you've downloaded, and then you could go to show in folder there. So there's two ways to get to it. So once we download that, looks like so once you download that, you'll have your zip file using Gmail and Canvas. And just so I can give you guys an example, I'm gonna make a copy of this and put it in my documents. So it has a size of 11 kilobytes. If I want, I can click it open like I would a normal folder, and I can see what's really inside of it. Well, what's really inside of this? A folder that says using Gmail and Canvas. Because this was the folder that I originally had, and then I zipped it, I compressed it, and then it created that zip file. So, what was in this folder? Oh, well, there's just a Word doc. I want you to take a look at the size of this Word doc. It's 14 kilobytes. The compressed size within the zip file was 11 kilobytes. So we took 14 kilobytes, so 14,000 bytes, and we pressed it down to 11. And the reason I mentioned how that kilobyte was 14,000 is really it's more than that actually. But that's just our quick approximation of uh, kilo. Because many of you probably at some point in your life have heard like a kilometer or kilogram. Kilo meant 1,000. Well, when it comes to these bits and bytes, it's actually a little different. The way that remember the way a computer speaks and understands things is in binary, so in zeros and ones, yes and no's, on or offs. And so that means that these bytes are based off of powers of 2. And so powers of 2, when you get to 2 to the 10th power, it's 1,024. So really each one of these is 1,024, not 1,000. But we can approximate that as 1,000. So only reason I'm mentioning that is just so you can kind of understand the size of this. It was around 14,000 bytes, and that went down to 11. That's a huge difference. If I were just to say it went from 14 to 11, you may say, oh, it must have been not that much in common between within the files. But no, that's a bigger difference when you think of it as that's 3,000 bytes, a little more than 3,000 bytes difference. So, but on some of your computers, you'll actually be able to click this guy and open it up, no problem. And you'll even be able to edit it. Now, hopefully, whenever you open this file, you should see a yellow bar up here that says protected view. This isn't because I protected the view when I sent it. I could have done that. You can make changes to files where you could make them password protected and things like that, which is probably best. So you can make sure it's going to the right person and things like that. But if you download any Microsoft Office file from the internet, it will automatically go into a protected view. And you have to tell it, hey, I am going to enable editing. Now, I have had friends that have gotten tired of continuing having to click this because this wasn't always here, especially growing up. It would automatically, as soon as you open it, you can start editing it. They put this here because at some point in time, and I always forget the name of this. I believe it's like the Mary virus or something. You could look it up, Microsoft macro virus. But what it was is that someone created a macro, which we'll do in this course, which is a part of the Office application. So it's a program in the Office applications that allows it to automatically do certain things. Well, they created a macro that was a virus. And what it would do is it would they sent out one email file, and then it would go look for what your email is, and then it would send emails to your contacts, and then therefore it could spread itself out around the world. Well, to combat that ever happening again, Microsoft added this, so it doesn't automatically begin to do whatever it needs to. And actually, if there's a macro attached, there's 2 layers to it. You have to enable editing and then enable the content of the macro. But you can change the setting, and I have friends that will change the setting to make this go away. I suggest never doing that. So I'm not going to teach you how to do that. But if you did want to, you could look that up. Once I enable editing, I can actually go in here and begin editing this file. This is not a best practice, and also is not always going to be available to you, especially depending on your computer and how things are set up. The reason is because I opened this directly from a zip file. So what's best practice, best practice, it would be to remove this from the zip file first before I start making any changes to it. Well, how do I do that? Well, some people will just copy and paste it somewhere, and that actually will work just fine. The best way to do this, and actually I'm going to go back to my first folder that I had, and that's to extract. What you'll notice up here is when you're on a compressed file, you'll see a compressed folder tools in your file explorer, and you'll see the option to extract. You should have available to you different locations that you can extract it to. I always go to extract all. The reason for that is because I can choose here by clicking browse where I want it to go to, if I want it to go to a specific spot. It'll automatically be in the same folder that it's in, and then create a new folder based off what that compressed file was named. But you can make changes to this too if you want to. I could call this zip file example if I want to. I can also, like I said, browse through my file explorer and find a new location for it. But I can also, after I'm done with that, deciding where I want it to go to, I can decide to keep this box checked or not. And what this will do is it'll open up a new file explorer to say, hey, this has been complete. And here are your files that you extracted. Or you can have this unchecked and then go find it yourself. I usually have this checked just so I can see it happen quick and to make sure it happened correctly. And as you can see in documents, there was a new folder created called zip file example. And within that was the folder that was within the zip file. And here's that assignment. Notice here that there was nothing that says compressed size anymore. It just had the date, the type, and the size as our attributes. You can change what you see within a file explorer as well. You can change the view of it. And that's actually something that's probably important to show you guys. So in the top here in the tab of File Explorer, you'll see View. You can change what appears here on the left, how it's laid out. I like mine's in details so I can see different attributes. Some people will just do icons, which will give the icon for the type of document you're in and then give the name. But you can have as much as you want display on the screen. You can change how it's sorted. And this is the real reason why I wanted to make sure I showed you guys this part was because you also have the option to show file name extensions. Oops. And also hidden items. The reason I say that is because there are some folders that you'll see on your PC that won't show unless you have that hidden items actually saying that they can be shown. For example, sometimes on your computer, you could have things set up for when you download it to go to a local temporary folder on your computer. I believe that Microsoft made changes to that so that it doesn't do that anymore. It goes directly to your downloads folder. However, I see many students that sometimes say they downloaded stuff and they can't find it. That's because it's going to that temporary folder. And if you were to, and I'll just show you guys what it looks like. If you were to go to your PC, and I'll do that again because I feel like that went too fast. Go to your actual hard drive for your computer, and then go to your user, so who you are. If you, yeah, if you go here, notice that this folder is kind of glossy, like it's kind of almost transparent. That's because this app data folder is usually not shown. This is that temporary folder that things usually go to when you download. So I'll even show you guys. Like I have a bunch of things I've downloaded, and this is where they go. Especially when I'm creating or downloading a brand new application, you don't need the executable to always be ready available there. But anyway, I'm showing you that just in case you ever try to download something and it's missing, because that could have happened just now when you download it. You might not have seen it in the downloads folder. Okay, well, let's get back to the assignment here. So again, we downloaded something from online, so I enable editing. And I tell you some instructions here. If you have this attachment, it means you'll download the file unzipped and open this file. Great job, you did exactly what you need to. All right, here's what you need to do now. You'll see an example here, but go to the bottom of this document, type your name, email address, class section number. Then there's an example here. Then we're gonna zip this file back. So let's go ahead and put our name down here. And so this Elliot Turner is actually one of the professors that created many of the assignments that you'll see here. They've been modified from what he started. So if you ever run into someone named Elliot Turner, you should thank him for making your textbook available for free or helping start having your textbook be for free for this class. So type your name, email address, and then your section number, which you guys are 19. I'm gonna take a guess here. 455. Did I get it right? Oh, I did. All right, great. So once you do that, we're just gonna save the file. So that means it's still in that same folder that we unzipped it to, that zip file example. And now what we need to do is to zip it into a new file. So we're gonna need to compress it again. The reason for this is for us to be able to send it, not be able to, but to send it back through Gmail back to your professor, who is me. And also, you're going to upload that zip file into Canvas. Real reasons in life to zip files before you upload them. Again, you can add some extra protection with that. Also, it compresses it, right? That's the whole point of it. It compresses the file. And depending on your mail account, you only can do 25 megabytes uploaded as attachments to your Gmail. So if this was more than that, you wouldn't be able to send something to someone. But you could possibly zip it, and then it may be less than that amount, and you can send it. What Gmail has done now is allows you to upload it upload it to your Google Drive, and then provide a link, and then share it with that person. That's their way around it. But there are other ways that they had around it before. You could pay to have the ability to send more. But yeah. All right. So now that we got that done, I am going to zip this file. So I'm going to close this because I have no more use for it. I'm going to go back to our zip file example. Notice that the date modify attribute here now goes to about 2 minutes ago, because that's when we saved it last. So what I want to do now is I want to zip this file. So what I'm going to do is I am going to right click on this, and I will tell you something that many students do, which I'm not going to say is a mistake, because you can do this and it will work fine. But when you right click on it, you will see probably a couple options. You see I have 7-zip here. So this is a way for me to compress it. You'll even notice here it says that I can compress an email. So with the understanding that when you zip something, your plan is to email it off.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
To the original download.
What'd you say?
So you went back to the original download?
No, I went back to the unzipped folder.
Okay.
So not the zip file I originally downloaded. I just went to an unzip the folder that I created when I unzipped it.
I'm so lost. Sorry. So you
No,
renamed?
Yeah. So yeah, I showed when I unzipped it, I showed you all, and I'll just do that again real quick. So here's the one I originally zipped that I downloaded using Gmail and Canvas zip. And if I want to, when I extract it, can you see this on the screen where it says extract compressed zip folders?
No.
No. What do you only see? Do you only see the file explorer on the screen right now?
Yeah, I see the file that you have pulled up right now, the folder.
Okay. Does it say select the destination and extract files on your screen?
No. So what you did is you went to the download, and then at the top you clicked extract file.
Uh huh.
See,
Yeah.
my
Go ahead.
computer doesn't extract. It just has organize, open, share with, email, or new folder.
And you have the zip file selected, right?
Yes.
Are you on a Mac?
No, I'm on a Dell. My Mac one, I was gonna use my Mac computer, but the Microsoft wouldn't download. So.
Okay, we'll have to check on that too then. So you have the zip file here, and yeah, extract all. And you guys you don't see my screen where it says select the destination and extract files at all. No one can see that.
Yeah.
What was that?
I see it.
Okay, so you can't see it. Okay. So yeah, what I showed you guys here was that you don't have to use it. Automatically will put the same name as the new folder. You don't have to do that though. You can call it whatever you want. So I can call it a test kitchen if I want. And then it extracts it. And notice I have the new folder test kitchen now. And inside of that is the zip folder that I had. Or sorry, the file that I had within the zip folder. Okay. All right, so once you make those changes to that doc, what we're gonna do is we're gonna right click on it. So I was saying you could use 7-zip, but I suggest going to where it says send to, because this is the standard way that you would zip something. And some of you may have other options, like it may pop up and say WinRAR here, and a couple other ones. So it'll probably be depending on things that you've downloaded in the past. You'll have multiple ways to zip this file. But the standard way is we just go to send to, and what you're telling it is that you're gonna send it to a compressed folder. And when you do that, it'll create a new zip file, and it'll automatically put the same name as the folder that you had before, and then a .zip at the end. Again, here you could rename it to something else if you want to. Okay. All right. So once that is done, all you have to do now is email it to me and upload to Canvas. On Canvas, you should see, like when you're on this assignment, you should see a big blue button up here that says Submit Assignment. You click on that. You'll get an option to upload, choose the file to upload. You want to choose the zip file. You want to choose the zip file, and it'll look different, but I will show you from here how you could do that. So you're emailing back to me, and the easiest thing to do would probably be to just reply it back to me. And I'm going to email my employee email, and I am going to call this zip ID do da. You don't have to do that. You can, especially if you're replying back to the one I sent you, it'll automatically be there, and that'll be easier for me to track actually. So,
So compress
would you? Can you say it again?
Once it's compressed, it's good to go. So after you do you compress zip file, it's good. You can, that means it's been compressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's what you're gonna send to me and upload. So that
Okay.
that way I'll know, because I'll look at the document within it to see if your information has been added to it, your name, your email, your CIS105 and section number, and so that's how I'll know that you unzipped it to do that stuff, and then you zipped it back and sent it to me. So I don't have to put anything here. You can type something nice to me if you want to, but down here at the bottom I can click attach. If it's your first time using that Gmail account with it, it'll give you some explanation about what you're doing. And then I'll just go to where that was. And this is, when you upload on Canvas, it'll be kind of similar when it asks for you to choose a file. This is what you'll do. You'll just select the file that you had. You can click open. Some people will double click it. Some computers will allow that, and it'll automatically send it. And then that's pretty much it. All that's left to do is to click send.
Zip file be more, so like if 12 kilobytes is gonna be more than what the original file was because we added to it.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I was going to point it out, but I'm glad you caught that. So it increased from 11 to 12 kilobytes. It probably is honestly a little bit under 12. It's probably like 11.9 something, because we didn't type that much into there. But it did increase in size because we added to the file. So it makes sense that even the file size would increase, right? So the compressed file may increase as well. To a point. It will, but it's going to increase. The amount it increases by will differ based off what you type in it. Because remember, the way it does it, the way it compresses is by looking at what's in common between what's in the file, so that it can put markers, so that it doesn't have to keep typing the same thing over and over again. All right, so some of you have done that very well. You sent me your files. Some of you are sending them now as I'm getting messages about it. I go here, I even see my own. Okay, if you
So
ever
you
see
want
this
us
message,
to,
yes,
so you
go
want
ahead,
us to
continue.
send it to you through Canvas and through email?
Yes, I want you to do both. For
Okay.
for most assignments, I will just have you do Canvas. The reason I'm having you do this is one, so I can make sure you know how to get to your Gmail account, and two, so I know that you know how to use it, your school one.
Okay.
If you ever see this message come up, it's because it's coming from a strange source, especially if you're with an organization. So, like I'm with South Mountain and with Maricopa. So it's saying that, hey, you're within your South Mountain email. That the email that just came through is from an at Maricopa. That's a different organization. So you may not trust this. Well, I know this is trustworthy because it's from myself. So here I am. And then what I'll do on my end is I will open it up and kind of see what's inside. Uh, and I have a computer that will allow me to not have to actually open it to do so, like download it, open it. But I'll probably download it if I need to. Open it up, and I will quickly go inside here while it's still within the zip file. And then I'll look down and like, oh, okay, Christopher did what he was supposed to do. I'll give him his points. Okay. That's pretty straightforward, I believe. If it's not, let me know so we can get it corrected now.
When we upload section and modules or like the assignments where to upload it to?
Yes. So whenever you click on the assignment, so for instance, if you were on the home page within Canvas, you could click on that directly using Gmail and Canvas. You should see a big blue button up here. Actually, I know that on Monday the student view wasn't working, but I'm gonna give it a try today to see if it will work because that'll make it a lot easier, I believe, for you all to understand what's happening. Okay, it is working today. Good. So I would just go here. See how it says submit assignment? I would click submit assignment. It says choose file. So I would choose file. And like I said, it'll look similar to what we saw in Gmail when we were attaching a file. I'll click the zip file, the new one, right? And you should see its name here. I can select more than one file if I want. In this case, there should only be one thing here though. If there's ever an assignment that asks you to add comments, this is where you would add those comments. So you don't have to do this here, but you could if you want to. Hey, I did it. Yeah. And then you could submit the assignment. Okay. And then this is how I will grade this. I will grade this based off this rubric here. So those student learning outcomes and competencies we talked about, those are the first part that you'll see in your rubrics always. And then the latter part will be objectives that come from this. So for instance, here, demonstrating common uses of a operating system management and Office Suite applications is one of your learning outcomes. Well, we're doing that within this by you understanding how to zip and unzip a file. That's a part of operating system management. Also downloading files, going through File Explorer. And then Office Suite applications because you are able to open up Word and then make edits there, save it. Internet collaboration, use the internet to communicate, collaborate, and retrieve information. We have just done all of that with email, right? You email something, something was emailed to you, you downloaded it, unzipped it, made changes, you rezipped it, and then you uploaded it again. So you were able to collaborate with me on this assignment, and then you also retrieved information. The last part competency here is with the Office application. So use word processing. That's the one we did. And so the objectives here were that you could zip file you could zip a file and upload it to Canvas, and then you could send it an attachment as an email. So in order to do these, you also had to download it. So that is your first assignment. You'll also notice once it's submitted, you have an option to resubmit. That means for anything in this class, you will always be able to resubmit. Yeah, so if you need to make corrections to things, that is available to you. I'm not gonna hold that against you because you may learn more or get a better understanding afterwards. Okay, and then you'll see the date, time, and then any comments that may be here. And when I add comments, you'll see those start to appear here as well. And there'll also be an option to see the rubric from here, so you can see any comments I put within the rubric. All right, so that's the view. So that is the end of the first week. Are there any questions from anyone in regards to your assignment? Yeah.
Yeah. So the one like you said, there's some other type of that's just all reading, right? The other boxes you could do, the portfolio and stuff like that.
In this week, the other parts that you had to mark as done.
Yes, that's just
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah, that's just reading through it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you all were set with the. Some of you may still need to do the tell us about your technological experiences. But everyone was all good with the syllabus acknowledgement quiz. Okay. Is there another question?
I had a question. I tried to upload the video to the technological assignment, like the technology assignment, and it wouldn't let me. So do I just attach it? Because
When you say it would not let you, were you trying to do it from?
Yeah.
Okay, and you did the upload one?
Yeah, and it wouldn't let me. And I tried multiple times already. So do I just attach like a file to it, or?
Yeah, you can just attach a file to it. That'll be fine. Sometimes when you're working with this, if you go to record first and then try to upload it from here, it won't work. And so what I usually do is I'll right click on this and then it'll be an option to see right here. It says save video as, and I can save it there and then upload it. So that usually works. But worst case, just attach the file.
Okay.
Because the point of this isn't for the video to have to be here. It's just for us to get to know you and again to see what kind of technology experiences you had. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Someone actually went in and created their own discussion board, which I didn't know you all even had the power to do. I've never seen that before. But they did it there, and I guess that gives you some leeway. And they told me that they did it that way because it allowed them to upload a larger file. So if you did that, that's fine. Someone else just asked a question about the file. Did you need to make any changes to it? Yes. There's some instructions within that Word doc that tell you to, again, put enter at the bottom of it, type your name, your email address, and CIS105 and your section number. Okay.
Will you be compressing it in this class?
Sometimes you will have to. When you email something to me, it'll say like you're having issues with an assignment and you need to show me, or you need to send me the assignment so I can view it and try to aid you. It may be larger than 25 megabytes. That means you'll have to compress it possibly before you send it to me. I believe that is the only one. We used to do there is another one. With the HTML file, depending on how we do it or how you do it, if you leave it as, when we create a web page, if you leave it as your actual web page, or if you want to download it and make some changes to it, then you would have to zip that file as well. So I could have everything together. Because when you create a web page, actually, when you create a web page, I'm just giving you a little tidbit now. It's really just a folder in a directory. It's a folder of folders or a folder of just files or just a group of files. That's all a web page is. And you have one file that tells the web browser how to put things on the screen and how to use the other files that are there. So that's why if you were to say download what we create, it would be best for you to zip it because everything needs to be collected together. All right. Other questions from anyone? No? Okay. In that case, I'm going to get started with week 2 because there's 5 topics that are very large, and usually there's a big discussion about some of these. So I'm going to get a start with this because next week we're going to be talking about being safe with technology, and then in week 3 we'll get to the e-portfolio. The reason I set the class up this way is so we can get some beginning things out of the way, like knowing how to receive things from email or sending emails, zip files, and then also so I can learn a little bit about you and see where you are technology-wise. And then the second thing is if you're going to be using technology, just like you do anything else in any other job, the first thing they teach you is about safety. No matter what kind of job you have, they have you go through some kind of HR training to teach you how to be safe and to keep the environment safe. With technology, there are tons of different things that come to people's minds when it comes to being safe. I have tried to categorize them. I'll go back to the home page here. I tried to categorize them into 5 components. There could be more things to talk about. There are more things to talk about, but majority of them will fall under these. The first is ergonomics. Then we'll look at green computing. Then we'll look at cyber ethics. Then we'll look at intellectual property rights, and then security. So keeping your data and information safe. Ergonomics. Ergonomics is about you feeling safe within your environment, being comfortable in your environment. It's all about your environment and how it is promoting you to work effectively. For instance, they actually use this name a lot now for like keyboards. This is an ergonomic keyboard because the left side of it lifts up a little bit, and the right side does not. And we've separated the keys more. Like I don't know if any of you all have seen things like that, or they have chairs that they call ergonomic chairs because they'll have more lumbar support, so for your lower back, and they'll arc out a certain way. They won't have a headrest directly on your head. They'll have more cushion in the bottom for you. They'll allow you to have wheels on it, spin around. Some companies have exercise balls, those giant exercise balls for sitting down. Some companies have invested in the stand desk so that you're not sitting down all the time while you're working. These are all different ways that you have a place to be more have more positive ergonomics. So there are 5 major aspects of ergonomics. The safety, because that's in the end, that's really all what this is about, safety. But being comfortable helps you feel safer. I don't want to say it like that. Yeah, being comfortable does help you feel safer. Yeah, I guess I will use an example. So I was thinking about the example of like they say that the most crimes that involve one person affecting a victim in some way, whether it's stealing or whatever, it's someone that you're comfortable with or that you actually know that does it. And that's true, right? You know, if your friends steal something from you and it's not too valuable, you're not going to go to report it. But if someone broke into your house and did it, you would probably report it. But how often does that happen? It happens. It might happen a lot actually that your friends take something that you might not even think anything of it. Like they steal sugar from you or whatever. You're comfortable with them, so you don't even think about it. So you feel more safe because you're comfortable. And ease of use. Right now, I am not in my office where I had a very nice desk that curved around a large area so I could have multiple monitors and stuff. And I showed you guys the way my office, quote unquote, is set up right now, where I have my TV monitor and keyboard down there with another two computers on another desk right next to that one, and then on another desk next to that, adjacent to that, I have another screen and two more computers. And then I had an iPad sitting on the floor and all kinds of stuff like that. Like, this is probably not the best ergonomic environment. In fact, I had to put the my computer monitor that I'm using right now, my laptop, at the edge of the table, furthest away from me. That means I'm stretching my arms over to type. It actually hurts a lot. So I need to make some changes here so I can be more comfortable and also have easy use. It's harder to type, and therefore I'm less likely to type. Therefore, I'm less likely to be the next thing, productive. I won't be as productive. Um, and then the last part is creating a positive kind of environment, artistic. I'll give you an example of this. When I first started as a full-time faculty member at Maricopa, at South Mountain, my office was barren. The only thing that was there were things on my desk and nothing else. And other faculty members and sometimes students and staff would walk by and say, "Are you looking for another job?" Like, what? No, this is my dream job. This is exactly what I wanted to do my whole life. This is what I'm doing. Oh, why don't you have any pictures up? It made them uncomfortable not seeing anything in my office, and they thought something was wrong or that I was upset. So even if those type of things, those aesthetics, don't aid you or make you feel more productive, if they don't hurt you, they're nice to have because sometimes they may affect someone else at your environment. Um, when I worked at Meditech as a software developer. We had this requirement to have something personal on our desk, and I think that might have been why, like looking back, so that so everyone else felt comfortable with you, knowing that, oh, you're a human, and it would sometimes lead to some conversations too. But you had to have a personal area on your desk, and it had to be visible. You couldn't put it in one of the jars at the bottom or anything like that. So mine was covered in Georgia Tech stuff, and sometimes I would have a graphic novel or a comic book on it, whichever one I was reading lately for a break, and then eventually I would have a gallon of water on it. But anyway, those things can help promote a better environment for yourself, but also for others. So there are different things you can do. I'll give you another example. I lived with someone that was a chef, and whenever they would use a knife, they would always flip it. It was a habit for them. That made me feel extremely uncomfortable. So they had to learn to they had to unlearn that habit that they did, because whenever they were cooking, if I saw them, I would freak out because they'd be throwing knives. Which, throwing knives, you could say, oh, that's definitely not safe anyway, they should stop. Well, for them, it was a professional trade. Like, that's how they began using any knife, and they were using it to test the weight. They would even use it against their arm to check for sharpness and things like that. I saw that, I'm like, no, please don't do that. So you have to, when it comes to ergonomics, you're thinking about yourself and also the workplace, so everyone around you. You don't get too deep into it because you don't want to worry and nitpick yourself about everything you're doing. But if something is brought to your attention, from a supervisor, from another employee, you think about it. These are things that could come to mind. Okay, well, I got to think about their ergonomics as well, and their ability to work. Is what I'm doing going to be a hindrance for them, or do they need to just change their ways? And most of the time we go to, they just need to change the way they're thinking. Well, maybe not. Maybe you should change the way you're thinking and kind of help them out. For instance, like I said, with my office, I ended up having a bunch of pictures from my office. And I actually enlisted the faculty members that most commonly would stop by and like scan my room to see what was going to be in there or not. I asked them to help me. I said, bring me something, bring me a picture. I don't have any. And it's really cool. I ended up being able to have like kind of a mural in the back of my office wall that students started adding drawings and stuff that I would post up there. I had some cool arts and paintings, but those were things that made my environment and me even working and being there a lot better. And it helped other people feel more comfortable to work with me, just with some little changes. So there's a video here. The state of Montana decided they needed to make this video, and there's a couple of other states that have done the same, and some companies have done the same as well. So if you just look up ergonomic videos, like you just type ergonomics into YouTube, you'll find tons and tons of different things. At this point in time, ergonomics is very important because you're sitting at home, right? Or maybe you're sitting somewhere else, but you have to set things up so that you're comfortable to be able to. I hope you're all not sitting straight for an hour and 15 minutes because that's terrible on your knees. But you may take some standing breaks. whatnot, but you want to make sure you're in an environment where you feel safe to do that, you're comfortable to be able to do that. Or you may want, some of us may keep our phones away from us during this time so that we're not distracted by them. Others of us may keep it by us because we need it to be able to keep in contact with someone at emergency notice or whatever. But even like I was talking about, the way my laptop is set up, how it's further away from me, it's harder to type. These are things that we need to think about and make changes to, so that we are most productive in our environments. And so one of the things that is coming more prevalent with ergonomics is the use of phones, because everyone's on their phone for everything nowadays, right? The first class, someone asked me about what type of phone I had, Android or iOS, and with me having the basic phone, the mind says, why? I had one of the questions came was, why do I have a basic phone still? Why not have a smartphone? Well, I gave my reason why, but the mindset is how easy it is to go to a smartphone, how accessible everything is with it. Well, that's true, but that means you're on that more often, and that's why. Actually, it's like, I think it's like under the age of 25. There was a 0% of, about 0% almost at least, of hand injuries or carpal tunnel and all these other things wrong with people's hands. And now, if you're under the age of 25, it's like one of, I feel like it's the second highest age group. It's like between 16 and 25, but it may be number one now that are more likely to have issues with their hands. So like setting on arthritis and things like that because of how much you're using it. And there's other stuff too, like with the radiation that's coming off it. And I'm not saying that to freak anyone out, but if you keep it on your person, like they say, don't put your laptop in your lap, which is funny that's called a laptop. But there's a reason for that, because if you do that for long hours of the day, every day, all you're doing is having radiation directly over certain parts of your body. And it will affect it over time. So I'll stop there because we're at the 12:45 mark, and we'll pick up with green computing, and probably what I'll start off by doing is asking you guys about your ergonomics. I'm glad we got this started today. So think about your environment now, and think about your work environment in the future of your future career and where you want to work, especially if you're going to be working from home. Think about, what do you need to feel safe, comfortable, to have an ease of use of products around you, and to be more productive. And what other changes do you need to make? Do you go to a different room, for instance, right now to do your schoolwork or to do your work? Or do you just stay in your bedroom? Or did you add things on the walls to help you feel more productive and be able to do your work? So I'll leave you all with that. And those of you that need to stay behind and ask questions, feel free to do so. I will stop the recording now. Thank you guys, and enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you on Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.